Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Matthew Boyle from languagecardgames.com, where we believe if you can play cards, you can learn languages. And in today's video, I'm going to introduce to you the Language Guardians card game series. This is available at languagecardgames.com, and if you buy 2 of the games, or 3 of the games together, you can receive a discount. I also offer coaching programs to teach you how to play the games very well and play the games with you in your target language. All of the games are fully compatible, so you could pick and choose word categories from each game and mix them together however you like. And it doesn't matter what language you're studying. These cards will prompt you with words categories to speak in. So you can play this game with anybody no matter what language they're learning, and that can bring a lot of different people together at the table. If you're playing with someone who doesn't know your target language, then you become the teacher through the game. And if you're playing with people who know the language that you're after, then you're more on equal footing, you become competitors, and you can issue challenges to each other. The game is played similarly to Uno or Crazy Eights, so you are matching your cards down by their color or name. But the only difference is you have to speak words in your target language before you can put your cards down. Each card will have a little challenge for you. And when you put down all your cards, then you have won the game. There's some different variations too, but we won't get into those today. If you want to go in depth, you can watch the Language Guardians 101 video. I'll put a link in here. So the first Language Guardians deck is kind of an Asian fantasy themed deck. And that introduces a lot of word categories that you would expect maybe children to learn, or that you might see in beginning textbooks and programs. Things like people, animals, places, weather, foods, and sports, and colors, things like that. So it's a great place to just start off and have a lot of fun. The second deck, Language Guardians 2, is all about survival phrases, the kinds of things that are essential for you to know if you're planning to speak with a native speaker of your language or go to a place where that language is primarily spoken. And so there are categories like hotels, directions, making a self-introduction, restaurants, foreign languages, and addresses, things like that. Also emergencies, like emergency that you would have to call for help for. So this is an immensely practical but also still very fun deck. And then Language Guardians 3 is the latest release. And this one has some practical categories, as always, but it leans a little bit more into the fine arts, the creative arts. So there's things like music, movies, art, and things like that. Well, we're going to get into that game. I'm going to show you that one today. So let me clear these off, and we'll get started. I have my cards here, and I'm going to give them a quick shuffle. This game is not merely a game, but it's really a kind of educational tool. So it can take a little time for people to learn how to play and think of what words they want to say. So I think a great way to get started is just to pick out some of the categories from here and play with maybe like a half a deck, not all of the cards to begin with, unless you're quite experienced with card games in foreign languages. So you might take about half these cards and then deal everybody a small hand, maybe just 3 cards or 4 cards to get started. Because if people are going to think of what words and sentences to say, it naturally makes the game a little bit longer than a typical card game like this. So to start, you might deal everybody some cards. There's tools, books, there's another tools card, And for yourself, disasters. Cool. This deck, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, is post-apocalyptic themed. Let's deal out a couple more. Radioactivity, rooms, cities, monsters. Okay, not too many of the fine arts cards I was mentioning are coming up, but they're in there. Books, television, infections, and games. Okay, great. After you've dealt out the hands, then you want to flip over one more card to get started. And the first player has to match down a books card, a green card, or a wild card, which is pink. But before they put that card down, they have to satisfy the challenge on the card. Now there's a color code to follow. The green cards, which we call Earth cards, because this is a very fantasy-based company, the Earth cards emphasize nouns. The blue cards, which we call Water cards, emphasize verbs. The red cards, which we call Fire cards, emphasize complete sentences. The black and white cards, which we call Air cards, emphasize adjectives. And the pink cards are the wild cards, and they usually have nouns. And that they're represented by the element ether. So what you would do is this player would satisfy the challenge on their book card and match that down. This person also has a book card, so they can say their challenge and match that down. This player doesn't have that color, that name, or wild card, so they would have to draw a card. If they can use it, they can put it down. If not, their turn's over. And you go around and around until one player has put down all their cards, and then that player has won. Again, if you're playing competitively, you can issue a challenge and look up what the player said. And if they're wrong, they have to draw more cards, and if you're wrong, you have to draw more cards. But if you're playing cooperatively, which is another great way to play this game, you can teach people what to say for them to put their cards down. So they don't have to know in advance. You can teach them and let them put their cards down by repeating after you, and then shuffle up and play again and see if they can remember what you taught them. So that is a really fantastic way to play. And it's amazing how fast you will progress by playing with these decks, because they're very fun, very relaxing, very motivational. It helps people overcome a feeling of shyness or feeling like they're not good enough and they can't speak the language. It eases everybody into it, and you tap into the power of social learning, because everybody at the table becomes teachers. They can share what they know. So you will learn really, really fast. Well, I thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you'll like and subscribe to this video if you've enjoyed this material. And head over to languagecardgames.com, where you can learn more about these games. Language Guardians 3 is on pre-sale right now. So if you purchase it in this month, you can receive a special discount price, and it will be sent to you before the end of June. Thank you so much again for watching, and I'll see you back here next time at Language Card Games. Bye-bye for now.